When you find life unkind, hope's light is dim. Life seems wrong, friends are gone. What more can life bring to you? Now's the time to change your mind, turn things around. You will find, just like I, a new beginning will come round. You will see, just like me, as wings take flight. Leap of faith, don't look down. Keep moving forward beyond. Change will come, turn things around. You will find, just like I, a new beginning coming round. Keep moving forward, keeping on. Soon you will notice new life has begun. You will find peace of mind, the strength to go on. You will find life is kind. Keep moving forward beyond. As you fly, a new beginning coming round. Like me, as wings take flight. Leap of faith, don't look down. Keep moving forward beyond. As you fly, a new beginning coming round. A new beginning coming round. Keep moving forward, keeping on. Soon you will notice a new life has begun. You will find peace of mind, the strength to go on. You will find life is kind. Keep moving forward beyond. As you fly, a new beginning coming round. As you fly, a new beginning coming round.
Oh, I love that song, and I picked that one specifically for you, Joe. And for the work that
thank you.
So what do you feel from that music from Samaria?
It's beautiful. I felt how gentle it was and how loving. It's so compassionate. It's really, it's not forced. It's just so beautiful. I love the gentle gracefulness of it.
Yeah, and she's definitely a supporter of our show from the other side of the veil.
Isn't that always nice to know that we have, to remind us of all the supporters we have?
Right. I mean, she is definitely a very powerful, benevolent, angelic soul, no doubt. Because I felt her come into the room sometimes when I'm playing her music. So anyway, we are definitely deeply honored today to have the divine goddess expression of Prime Source as Jill Renee Fuller, and it is indeed my honor and pleasure for her to come in and grace her divinity and her presence with all of us here today on Be Love Now, Healing for Inner Peace.
Marcus, thank you so much for having me. It's such a wonderful opportunity. You and I have crossed paths a little bit in some of the other stuff that other sharing that each of us have done, and I so appreciate the chance to be here with you in this beautiful space that you've created.
Well, it's co-created as with all of our Blog Talk radio shows and other online radio shows that are putting out the higher of intentions and healing and awakening for the greater good of humanity and all life. And the power of our collective light is really, as you know, is a fourth and multidimensional expression of our source's intentions within our own souls for the greater good of the whole. And that far out is far more powerful than that of the dark that are trying to maintain their control, which they are losing rapidly.
Right. And we win when we decide we're winning, right? When we choose to look at it that way, that light will always prevail over dark or any lack of light. Some would say darkness. I just call it lack of light.
Right. I mean, basically, as you know, when we do the work that we do, we channel through the divinity within our own soul, through the source consciousness in our souls, which is multidimensional nature. And the more that we awaken, I mean, the true conscious ascension experience is not us ascending up, but us integrating our multidimensional soul, our I am presence, into our conscious being. And through doing that, as well as integrating more of source consciousness energy, it transforms our DNA within its earth embodiment into the art form.
Yep, I see it exactly the same way. We're not. There's no need to go outside of ourselves to access our divinity. We actually have it and always had it within the core. It is the core of our being, and once you shift your perspective in that way, amazing results can happen in your lives. Amazing experiences can unfold because you realize the access is always there. It's simply a matter of where we're placing our attention and our focus.
Exactly. I mean, the true nature of who what we truly are is our multidimensional soul. And the more that we are able to move beyond the dualistic reality, or illusion, I should say, of everything, we can really integrate more and more of our higher self.
Oh, I see it exactly the same way. One visual, I guess, kind of vision that they've shown me before of that is that our third dimensional consciousness, the reality that really most of humanity knows, or at least most of us experienced it for most of our lives, was almost like the diameter of a straw, a drinking straw. And there's not a lot of room for movement there. It's so confining. It's so limited. It's very constrained. And the more and more that we allow the divinity within us to be known, to be experienced, to be trusted, etc., the more that diameter really of pipeline energy of divinity we experience, to the point that it becomes a pipeline diameter, bigger than your house. The huge, huge pipes that they put like under the ground for water or transportation of fossil fuels, oil. It's just that diameter of energy gets so big, and there are so many beautiful effects of that. Just we can talk about it from so many different angles. The choices that we have, the sense of freedom and liberation that we have, that we can still choose to feel like we're in that straw source of energy. And we can also remember, just by switching our consciousness and switching our awareness, that big pipeline of energy is still there. It's a wonderful, powerful process.
Now, as with the guidance that you've gotten, how do you feel it's best for us to cope and deal with, say, our family members or close friends or coworkers that we feel very close to, but that they have chosen to stay asleep at all costs?
Right. In my experience, and I feel like really all of us have a natural way that we're kind of wired to experience our family members and really all loved ones. So what I'm about to share isn't by any means meant to be a one-size-fits-all. What's worked for me really well with family members that remain in that kind of unconscious state, I'll say that sleepwalker state, is really appreciating and honoring who and what they are right now, and just recognizing the choices that they have, just choosing to feel and allow the love and the light that I see in them, and feeling that for them, even if they don't view themselves in that same way. My parents are not on a spiritual path, for example, and yet what I see in them is I just enjoy them and appreciate my time with them for who and what they do provide. I don't experience them obviously in the same way as I would if they were on a spiritual path. It would be a very different relationship, but it's not that, and I can choose to find appreciation for who and what they are in the relationship that it provides right now. I do. Let's see. I feel myself. I want to say my own upliftment process, my own support system, really comes more, though, from those that I have allowed into my life, and I would say magnetized probably into my life, that really see me, and that they see themselves more similarly to how I see them in their God essence, their God form. Those relationships just, those light bonfires, right? It's more than a spark.
Right. Yeah.
So having those in my life along with these other relationships that are maybe more surface in terms of conversation and, talking about the weather and those types of things, the other ones nourish my soul. And these other ones just feel good when I'm feeling like led to interact with those other family members, et cetera. Does that make sense, Marcus?
Oh, perfect sense. Most definitely.
Do you feel the same way in your journey?
Oh, yeah. I definitely agree with that. Because one thing which I also see, which I think all of us have experienced at one point or another, is sometimes when we are, say, working through stuff or dealing with stuff and we're not doing it perfectly, and let's just, an example, say you're on a radio show, for example, and you have somewhat of a connection with the host, let's just say. And you tend to, or another group, and you tend to mirror each other, and then it's the point that we must be aware of that mirroring of each other, seeing that which you are mirroring back and forth within yourself. Then once you are aware of it, then you can work to transmute and clear it and let it go, and then you can move on. Where they may not. But that's their journey. Right.
I see what you're saying, and that mirroring, and I think maybe another way to say what you're saying is that sometimes when we're interacting with someone, no matter what operating frequency, vibrational reality they choose to be animating, I'll say, we can sometimes adjust to their frequency unconsciously, and that may be a less comfortable situation for us, or it may even be a more expansive experience for us. So it can be either or. It can be an expansive experience or a contracting sort of experience, depending on what we're choosing to do with our energy. The other thing that I've noticed is that the more I experience my unique God frequencies and I trust them and I hone them, there's less of that contraction that I have, no matter who I'm with. So, for example, you're at a grocery store and a customer in front of you is feeling a little angry or perturbed about something and chooses to get a little nasty maybe with the sales clerk or the person that's checking out your items. I can witness what she's doing or what he's doing, and yet I can just stay in my heart space and be that neutral observer and not feel any emotion about it, not be angry at them for being mean to somebody that's an innocent bystander, not feeling sad for them, not feeling any constriction or tenseness or anything. I just feel so neutral and so in my field that I'm seeing what's happening, and I can let that be. And then when it's my turn with the clerk, I can just say, that wasn't very pleasant. How are you doing today? And just totally, do whatever I can to welcome them into my energy field if they're open to it, so that they can have a different experience than they just have with the other person.
Most definitely. Now, one thing which I also noticed, too, is that let's say we are in our divine center, not allowing ourselves to be pulled into the drama. And let's say
so true.
That coworker or family member or close friend is deeply to the negative mental emotional patterns, the drama, the lack, the limitation mentality. And when they are not able to pull you into their drama and you stay in your center, they push hard to try to pull you down in whatever way they can. And then they get more frustrated because they can't.
I know it. Oh, Marcus, I totally see that too. And my sense is that almost all of us have somebody in our lives, probably a blood relationship, so a sibling or a parent or a child or something like that, somebody that we can't get away from. How about that?
Exactly.
That serves purpose for us in our lives. And I really chose those words carefully, that serves that purpose for us in our lives. I had a situation over the holidays, and it was funny because I shared a message in December on my Blog Talk Radio show that was it was called Holiday Thrive All Guide, Thrive All as opposed to Survival Guide for Lightworkers. And there were a lot of beautiful messages that came in with that message that I was definitely taking to heart and wanting to put into practice as a beautiful reminder. And over the holidays, some family was in town from out of town, et cetera, and I had a situation with somebody in my family where I did something that they didn't expect. It wasn't directly related to them, but it was another family member. And I could see that they were getting very upset about it on behalf of someone else. So it's almost like person A really likes it when you do blah, 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 blah. But I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't do it exactly that way. I didn't, they appreciated the sentiment and all those things. But the other person was so bothered and irritated and felt like I was just, totally, that I had done it wrong and that she was very mad at me about the whole thing. And it was funny because I didn't piece it together right away, but then over time I started to kind of be popped in some of the missing pieces there, and I felt no response to it. I was just really seeing it as the person that I offered the gift really to was so appreciative of the gift, and it was a different way to give a gift than we had in the past. But this one other person was so upset by it that was her choice. She chose to be very upset about it. And I could see that energetically in the past, I would have allowed myself, my natural temperament prior to my activation was very much a people pleaser, that it was my responsibility to make other people happy.
Right.
So I would have played into that game and been like, oh no, so-and-so is upset with me. I need to fix this. I need to apologize. I need to undo everything I did wrong, quote unquote, because I'm on somebody's naughty list. Right. And I felt no compulsion to do that. I really just allowed her choice, her reaction, her response to be hers. Right. And I checked with my heart space on whether what I did was out of love and appreciation and honor for this other person. And it just felt good. And I could intuitively sense it irritated this other person wanted me to feel bad, wanted me to feel guilt, shame, apologize, all these other things. And I chose not to own that.
Well, you stayed in your divine center, self-empowered.
Yeah, exactly. And it, had there been a lesson for me, I was open to it. It was kind of like, did I miss something here? Did I do something wrong? And I was like, no, I did it out of love. The other person wasn't bothered. I think we're okay.
But the big thing is, isn't just the words that you use, but because you were pulling from that high vibrational love vibration, and the other person was stuck in their drama, their state. They chose to be in their consciousness. And a lot of times when they are around someone that's channeling a high frequency of energy, their issues come into their conscious awareness.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
I mean,
it triggers in them to face fear.
Is up in their face, and they don't see it.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, it's a fascinating process. And I reposted that Holiday Thrive All Guide right before Easter and Passover last week, so that people, if they needed that reminder, they could. That we, it's so common in our experience as we begin to know another way to be for ourselves, that we can be on shaky ground sometimes with other beings that we know from our growing up years, our blood family relationships, et cetera. Sometimes we slip out of our our light source, our light frequencies when we're with other people, and we fall into old patterns. And really what that message was about, and the experience that I just shared with you is about, is these opportunities that we all have in honing our light, honing our ability to be in our light and be our light, no matter who or what we're doing or being or where we are, who we're with, or what somebody else is doing. That, to me, is the biggest gift, and it's really an opportunity every single one of those moments to stand in our mastery, to be within our master level frequencies, and, oh, it feels so good.
Most definitely. You know, along your awakening journey, how do you feel that as you integrated more and more of your higher self, more and more of your multidimensional soul into your conscious awareness, and you really started to explore your perceptions of creation and did that conscious expansion, did anyone in your close family of actually see and share that experience with you?
For a while, there was a family member that was experiencing it with me. She'd been on her spiritual path for decades, really, and at some point, we became at a certain. Our two flavors of ice cream started to. She didn't like my flavor of ice cream anymore, I guess is the best way to put it. So we had there was a period of my expansion where I was kind of like, well, this is happening, and isn't that cool? And she was able to share and sometimes offer tips and things like that. And then at some point, my team was so directing me within and directing me on my own path, I'll say. And I feel like this other person, once they felt like they weren't my teacher, it bothered them. And that relationship still isn't in the place that I would like it to be, and yet it is what it is. This gets weird, right? I mean, let's put it this way. Some of us have, well, all of us have a very unique and beautiful soul signature that we are being offered to experience very fully. And oftentimes that unique God essence that's within us totally contradicts the patterns and the habits and behaviors and ways of being that we had known in previous relationships in our lives. As a sibling, as a daughter, as a mother, all those things, all of those relationships and a sense of identity get kind of smushed up, really, and recreated. We're reborn, literally, in our God essence. And some people get kind of confused by that. Some people it really bothers because they have gotten used to you being a certain way. And if what you are being right now doesn't fit their view of you, and they're, for whatever reason, kind of locked into that previous view of you, they can't see you in your new way. And I've stopped asking them to, actually. I'm just kind of okay with it. Does that make sense, Marcus?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, it seems like you and I just resonate so well together. It's
I love that. Isn't this fun?
So, let's see. First, before we go on, I want to double check. We have Breath of Terra. I love that. I love that name. Yeah, because that's definitely something I'm thinking about doing later in the year as a breatharian. I'm going to look into that. But as long as I'm in my present physical living environment situation, that won't be so easy to do. But that's move on. My dear brother Cairo, who is my business partner with, we're co-creating Visionary Insights Network, and hopefully he'll call in later and we can talk about that. Another friend, Chris. Chris is great. We're going to be probably having him on the show. Probably in about a few weeks or a month. We haven't set the date yet. Kristen, she's great. Cindy, she's I also know her, and Chrissy, great.
Yeah.
A number of guests. I know who some of the guests are, which is great. Jessica, she's in the queue, so I'll probably bring her on in a little bit. And then Moonicorn. Haven't seen you before, but that's fine. Welcome to the show.
Awesome.
That's great.
Welcome everybody in the chat room and on the line. It's so wonderful to have you here. Even if you're in the archives, I hope energetically you can feel like we're all in present time.
Right. Now, I definitely would like to at some point do a show on breatharian, and so if Breath of Terra, if it's something that you are quite familiar with. Oh, Aaron, great, Aaron too.
Actually, Breath of Terra, Marcus, Breath of Terra is Teresa Sixberry on Facebook, and she just started a blog talk radio show called Breath of Terra.
Yeah,
I was first, so
she's great. She's great.
Yeah, she's great. I know she identifies with Stone Nation. She's incredibly connected energetically with crystals and stones, and she just has so many wonderful things to share. Her show. I'm so excited that she's decided to share more of herself in those ways. It's so wonderful. We have so many opportunities to experience others that are also living and being their light, and it can be so expansive, really, for all of us.
Most definitely. There's so much to it too. Okay, Aaron, sure. We can talk about that because I definitely want to do more on UFOs as well. So, Aaron, all right. So everyone knows I am definitely looking for very high conscious vibrational guests, bringing information that needs to be brought forth. So I love for both of you to be part of my future shows as well. And there's so much in the names. Like, for example, with me, I've been going by the name Healing4innerpeace since even the old internet, when all we had was Yahoo Messenger, MSN Messenger. That's about all we had. I went by Healing4innerpeace. And I've had my shows with that name, Healing4innerpeace. And then for my email, it's innerlightexpressions@gmail.com. And just that name itself says a lot.
Oh, that's so fun, Marcus. I haven't been drawn to change my name, so it's so fun that we all are led to do it in different ways, right? And it's been really fun for me to more clearly understand by having a numerology chart done or an astrology chart done where they look at your name, and the energetic imprint that your name has. So my birth name was Jill Renee Strand, and then when I got married, it changed to Jill Renee Thieler. And for a while, I just went by Jill Renee, and for most of my life, in terms of first names, I just went by Jill. And I really didn't know why I added the Renee all of a sudden. I went by Jill Renee when I started spiritually sharing, and then one of the charts that I've had done, I probably had about 4 or 5 done in my whole life. Reverend Rhonda Smith did one, and she was doing a part of the chart, and then she said, you'll know when this master vibration kicked in, because I had more than one, when you started using the name Renee. And I think I started crying at that point because it's just so beautiful how organically what we call ourselves, how it is, I want to say, an effect and perhaps also a simultaneous cause of different energies being brought in. So I think I really love the fact that some of us are also drawn to use other names like you have in different situations to bring in even different energies. It's so fun, isn't it?
Well, and then I have another one for you to intuit is the email that Carol and I created that we're going to be using with our new website, which, like I said, is not online yet. We're still working on the final development of it. It's almost done. Is Golden Falcon Healing. And as I say, the Golden Falcon is an aspect of the Phoenix. I work very closely with the Phoenix and the Dragon. And the Golden Falcon is like more of the earth plane aspect, but beyond that, which is for soul healing. And like sees deep into your soul, because a big part of what we need to do now for us as healers is to work on healing on a soul level. Because it's not just on the physical level now. It is all of our earth plane timelines, all of our parallel realities are all being of third dimensional, fourth dimensional experience. It's time for them to be transmuted and cleared to merge together for the greater good and then move as one unified whole with the rest of our multidimensional aspects of our soul's expression, because our earth plane lessons is moving to a whole new level.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I love how we each can use different words, and we probably all mean the same thing. You know what I mean? There's a part of me that would look at it and use different words in terms of the soul is okay, and our light body doesn't need healing. But yet the healing, in my way of looking at it, and the way of my attaching words to it, I think we're saying the same thing, and there's no wrong way to say it. The way that I would put it is that there are different steps that we feel led to, I would say organically even, to process, to face, to recognize, to process, to release, really release anything in our energy field, any sense of self-identity, any truths, any beliefs, any behaviors, patterns, anything in our energy field that is not aligned with and isn't feeling harmonious with the light source that we are. And that it's about releasing from that, almost like a kind of like a pile of debris on the sun. That the sun is within us, that light source within us, the God source within us. And it's about really releasing and detaching from anything that's hindering our light from feeling, from being felt within our bodies and being shown from within our physical realities. So it's probably a slightly different take on it, but I feel like we're saying the same thing. And yes, that transmutation and transformation, resurrection is the word that came up for me a couple weeks ago in the message that we shared a couple weeks ago, that in the process of this resurrection, this opportunity is global. It's global, and it relates to all life on the planet. And some are consciously aware of it, some are not. Some are consciously going through this process and allowing this process, and some are not. Right. And it's all okay. We're all on our own timeline in terms of what we are feeling led into being and what we are feeling not drawn to, and that it's all so perfect.
Right. I mean, as I've been calling it, is the conscious ascension experience.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Okay, so like you and I talked earlier, I'll be doing my channel session a little bit later, but why don't we bring Jessica? Jessica, you're on the air. Welcome to Be Love Now, Healing for Inner Peace with Joe. You're on the air.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. You're on the air.
Hi.
Hi, Jessica.
Hey. First off, the same. And when you started talking about how it took a lot for you to not care, obviously I think you got into a confrontation with somebody, and then you always have this thing within you to want to correct the situation. You know?
Yeah. A lot of times for their own ego, for them staying within their comfort zone, they might antagonize you or others just to reinforce their ego, their power, their control.
Yes.
Which is not for your best interest. And it takes practice, meditation, centering on a daily basis to stay in your divine center, to stay self-empowered, you're going to do within your soul. So you overcome that. I mean,
Marcus, I was just going to say, I couldn't hear Jessica's question really at all. I can pick up on some of the energetic vibration of it. I thought your answer was beautiful, but I don't know what the question was. So if my input is not, I'm going to have the question repeated.
All right, go ahead, Jessica.
Well, it wasn't really a question. It was just a statement. I was just saying, when you were talking about how you got into, I think you got into a confrontation with somebody, and then it obviously wasn't your fault, but at the same time you're still trying to better the situation and balance it. I was I find myself doing that too sometimes, and
Yeah, actually, if it was related to what I was sharing earlier about over the holidays with a family member, there was another person who was feeling like I had created a fault. I had done wrong. And there was no conversation about it, actually. She never engaged me directly. She was animating some different programs of wanting to make sure I knew that she was unhappy with me, but there was really no conversation about it. and there was really nothing I was doing in my physical body to try to make peace with her about it. I was really detaching from it and letting her experience what she was creating, and I just didn't feel like it was a part of my reality at all.
Right.
And that's very different than wanting to have a conversation about it or trying to balance it out. For me, there was nothing to balance. I was fine.
Right. So, Jill, can you give your information so it's on the recording, and for Jessica, how they can contact you?
Oh, yes. So my website is beaconforlightworkers.com, and it's just all spelled out normally, BeaconForLightWorkers.com. And then on Facebook, I go by Jill Renee online, just because Jill Renee was taken. And let's see, I have a YouTube channel, but it's all the stuff on the YouTube channel is available on my website. And on my website, we offer private sessions. There's a lot of free resources, and also the webinar series that we started sharing last summer is on there. And that's been a great expansion tool for many, many people.
Right. I'm going to put your links in the chat room so they have it.
Oh, cool.
All right, there we go.
And Jessica, thanks for calling in. It's fun to hear that other people are also noticing a difference in how they're responding to different situations. And for those of us that kind of like that validation and confirmation, gosh, how we're feeling, how we're choosing to operate in a state of well-being in those repeated patterns that come up with loved ones or just in any way in our life, those cycles that repeat. It's such wonderful validation when those things that maybe used to trigger us don't trigger us anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Cool.
All right, so love, like I said, you feel free to contact us, Jessica. We put our links in the chat room.
Okay.
All right, love, light, and blessing. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Oh, I like her energy.
Oh yeah, she has good energy. Hopefully she'll stay in touch with us, which is cool. Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on in the world, and so many of us are looking to really grow and to expand. And is that there's more to life, more to existence than we've been conditioned to believe by our government, by religion, what have you.
Yeah. Yep, I totally agree. And that's where we have this beautiful pre-coded experience that within us. We arrived with it at birth. We coded ourselves energetically for certain experiences and for certain opportunities. And what we would code for us in this time phase would be very different than what we would have as a soul, as an oversoul, coded for ourselves in experiences in the 1800s or the mid-1900s, etc. We code energetically in our experiences based on what the time phase is that we're entering into in our view of linear time in this earthly reality. It's fascinating. It's absolutely, it's such a mind bender for some, and yet it's so exciting once you look more closely into it, that I wouldn't had, if I had, I mean, in other phases that I've had as a soul, other human experiences or other experiences, we code ourselves totally differently based on the reality and the dynamics and the overall blueprints about what is to be set in motion for the life form that you're experiencing at that time. Just think about that for a moment. That's huge.
Most definitely.
Think about Marcus, do you feel a sense of trust when we contemplate that notion that, okay, I'm pre-coded to be a certain way. I'm pre-coded to participate in bringing in a certain essence of divine spirit, divine source. When we really recognize that as our truth and allow the natural flow of the energies to work with us, it would be like a daisy. I mean, a daisy doesn't work on opening up. It just does.
Well, the big thing as we move forward by doing our inner work, by doing our conscious integration of our conscious ascension experience and integrating more of our I am presence, more of our multidimensional soul.
Right.
And let me just give this quick visual that I use a lot.
Okay.
Think of a telescope. A telescope is made of a series of lenses. And let's just say on the top is your higher self, your I am presence, and then where you become part of the collective whole of source creation consciousness. Each of these lenses has a different focal point of light. So let's just say each lens represents a different dimension and octaves within that dimension. So it has a different focal point of your soul's expression focused within that dimensional reality, if you will, of whatever is of that form or beyond form of that aspect of creation. And as you come down each lens, you get into a more and more dense part of reality or experience until you get to the very bottom, which is this third dimensional form. But yet they're all part of your totality of being and your wholeness of your true self. And then as you integrate more consciously with each of those soul expression aspects of your soul and your I am presence, you're also bringing in more of that source frequencies into your conscious awareness. And through doing that energy, that intention, those codes from source through your I am presence merge within your DNA of your physical embodiment and transform you on all levels to your highest potential that you're ready to become at that eternal now moment. So when I do the sessions that I do, I channel through source, my I am presence, to all that are listening to my voice, that source frequencies through the harmonic frequencies that I channel for the greater good of the whole.
Oh, Marcus, that is such a fun and dynamic way of looking at it. Thank you so much for sharing that. The different lenses, I totally resonate with that. That it's all the same matter. It's all God matter, if you will, that we are. And yet we approach it, like you said, we focus on it based on different ways of experiencing ourselves, which is really the lenses in your analogy there. That is so fun to look at it that way.
Mm. Yeah.
I was gonna go back a little bit. I want to make sure that this is a good time. Is this okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. When I look at my experience, and I use this example and I use this phrase a lot because I don't know of another way to clearly identify to people how not in this kind of conversation I was so recently ago. I didn't know what a spirit guide was prior to 2008. That word was not part of my language. That belief system, that truth, that reality for me now, that we had spirit guides and other people that support us in the higher realms, that just wasn't my reality as recently as 2008. So the first time I heard the word spirit guide was in my very first psychic reading in 2008. I wasn't raised in an environment where this kind of thing is talked about. So this is fairly recent, right? So when I look at my process, I really can't look at my experience. I wouldn't look at my experience and think of it as I did inner work. And that's just maybe my interpretation of it, or I don't know, but I really do feel more like that daisy, or that daffodil, that there's another way to go about our process, that beautiful hyacinth. I love hyacinth, and it's blooming right now if you're in my part of the world in North America and it's spring, et cetera. That bulb is in the ground. It has all the conditions it needs to totally flourish. It needs, sun, it needs soil, it needs some water, it needs the love of whomever planted it, et cetera. And it will just naturally do its thing. And I don't feel like the hyacinth bulb is in the ground going, oh, we really got to work on this. I really got to study this. I need to research it, any of those things. And I relate more to that type of experience of expansion because that's what I know. I have very few books in my spiritual library. It's probably about 5 or 6. I do watch videos every once in a while, and I've done some other things earlier on in my process that I felt led to kind of I want to say, tune me to a different frequency of reality that was more in alignment with what I was being naturally guided towards.
Right.
Almost like that bulb is ready to reach the surface of the earth to feel the sun, and then it will have a whole other level of experience, right, once it reaches that surface and it gets the sunlight, et cetera, and oxygen above the air or above the ground. So it wasn't, I don't even put the word work for me on it because it was such an allowing. It just, in my short few years of spiritual experiencing, it has been so divinely led and so beautifully orchestrated that if anything, I felt like I just needed to get out of my own way. I needed to get out of the way of my higher self. And there were perfect synchronicities in things that happened for me. Information that I was led to, or meditations that allowed me to get out of my head and out of my strong intellectual center that I've been pretty much operating from for the first 39 years of my life.
Right.
That there was a whole other way to be and allow. And for me, that was just so natural and so perfect. So I love that we can all look at our experience and have the different, like you said, lens about how we go about it. And I just wanted to offer that other way of perhaps viewing our expansion process.
Well, something which I'm feeling very strongly with you, which I think is happening for many of us, is like I mentioned earlier, we live in many different timelines that we have created on the physical earth plane in the third dimensional experience. And what you did in 2008 was you were merging with some of your alternate timelines where you were already fully awake and doing the higher work already, and you were simply merging with those aspects of your soul's earth expressions. And that is why it was time for you to awaken, because you were merging with those other aspects of your.
I think that is one very valid interpretation of it. And there's a lot more, as I know you would say probably the same thing. There's so much more to it, and yet that is one layer of that truth. And I would just add to it that none of it was intentional. And in my consciousness, it was all preceded. I mean, it's so funny because like I said, I haven't had that many charts done. I haven't really had that many readings in my life. But for whatever reason, around February, I felt led to get that broader awareness from other beings that are their unique God frequencies. And I just felt led to have an astrology chart done from my friend Molly McCord. I had a numerology chart done recently from Amy Landerman. I had a star markings chart done from Lavendar at Starseed Hotline.
Yeah, I know.
Starseed Radio Academy. And every single one of those, it was just so clear what they were able to see from their abilities and their God essence is that all of this was pre-planned, even the timing. It's just like, wow. So I understand when some people want to have activations and want to, do a meditation for a Kundalini activation or other, pineal gland expansion, those types of things. And in my experience, those all can also happen very organically with no work, effort, or CD required.
Okay, so
it's very different.
Would you like to co-create with everyone else here one of my channel sessions? This way you can be on the receiving end instead of always being the channel.
Oh, so you're going to share?
Sure.
Oh, I would love that, yes.
All right, I just need to have people tell me how good the quality is of my sound. So just let me know.
And I've just got to say, I'm looking at my screen here, and it says Kimberly 1111, and there's 1 hour and 11 minutes remaining. What a perfect time to start a channel.
Okay. I'm just doing a sound check. All right. People in the chat room, how is the sound quality with that? All right. Hopefully it was good. How did it sound on your end? Good quality. Okay, Jessica said. Okay. All right. Are you ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I think the people in the room are ready. There's a lot of happy energy in there.
Okay. And then you can share your experience afterwards if you would like. Okay, here we go. Everyone pull in to your divine center. Put your hand on your heart. Left hand on your heart. The right hand on your solar plexus. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your breathing. Connect to your soul consciousness which is within your embodiment. Feel your conscious vibration of your soul. Connect through your soul to the source living consciousness of creation itself within your soul. Feel the divine seed blueprint of creation, seed of life, flower of life, tree of life. Feel your tree of life growing, expanding its roots, grounding you to the heart and Mother Earth Gaia, connecting with her I am presence and all that she truly is. And as we are expanding our consciousness, as our personal tree of life and knowledge expands and grows its trunk, its branches, its leaves, all the flowers of creation or the fruits of creation itself, you are growing and expanding your consciousness, fully integrating through your multidimensional soul, through your I am presence, to the prime source consciousness of creation itself, of Omniverse. And we ask for the collective angelic realm of love and light, collective ascended master realm of love and light, the collective office of the Christ consciousness of this universe, to all of our friends of higher love and light, of our galactic families of love and light of this universe and Omniverse. So we are coming together into a vortex of prime source living consciousness, a vortex of living love, living light, living harmonics, living creation frequencies of creation itself. All of us are surrounded by the rings of love and light of the harmonics of creation itself, the harmonics of light itself, the living light, living harmonics of prime source consciousness is surrounding each of our individual vortexes of love and light of creation, which is permeating all of our soul's expressions throughout infinity, all timelines, all past lifetimes, all dimensions, all omniversal aspects of our I Am Presence's soul's expression are within this holy space. We are inviting all of our guides, all of our teams, all of our loved ones that are on the other side of the veil. We are welcoming them into our holy space now. Fully integrating, activating, anchoring infinite prime source grace, living creation frequencies and codes through each of our I Am presences, higher selves, and all of our multidimensional aspects of our soul's expression. our light meridians within our embodiments and energy fields. We also see our contrast dark meridians of contrast of duality within our energy field, within our embodiments. Now calling forth creation codes and energy from Prime Source Creation Consciousness to bring together our light meridians and our contrast dark meridians into one, intertwining into a new meridian set for a new embodiment, integration, activation, anchoring into a new embodiment form, multidimensional, multi-universal, back into the wholeness that we truly are. So we are bringing these two meridian points together, light meridians, contrast dark meridians, into a new meridian set. We are now choosing to release all contracts, all agreements, all energy within the totality of our being toward infinity, which no longer supports our personal highest good, which no longer supports our full momentum of our conscious ascension experience, all mental emotional patterns, all beliefs, all illusion, all dualistic emotions, thoughts, patterns, and beliefs, which are in any way hindering us from fully moving forward in our conscious ascension experience and integration with infinite divine grace of Prime Source Consciousness throughout the totality of our being is now being encoded with these light codes, frequencies of harmonic creation frequencies, harmonic living light frequencies, and pure source creation frequencies of love and grace. Now, so be it is so integrated, activated, and anchored, so be it shall continue. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it is so.
Marcus, what a gift you just gave us.
So what would you like to share, Joe?
Let me just feel this yumminess for a moment. It just feels so good. Oh, okay. My energy center is just so, I feel tuned. I feel tuned to my God essence. Thank you so much for that. What a beautiful gift you gave all of us that were just experiencing that and open to that. I'm feeling from my team that it's a beautiful reminder that somebody was just saying, sorry, in the room that there's an echo for me. Marcus, do you have your speaker on differently than you did before you started sharing your gifts there?
No different.
Okay, I don't have a difference here either, Chrissy P. Let us know if it gets better, okay? Because I could hang up and call back in too if that would help. Echoes are frustrating. Is that when all of us are choosing to operate from this beautiful light frequency that we have within us, however we're choosing to be our light, when we share ourselves in that pure way like you just did, we offer such a pure, authentic gift to others. really to ourselves and our own continuous expansion process, that we really activate and help tune each other to our unique individual God essence. And it's I mean, can you imagine how amazing this is going to be on the earthly planes, and more of us are choosing to operate in the same way? We will be lighting each other up, and in the process, by having lit ourselves up, lighting each other up in even a more expansive way. It's so wonderful.
Yeah, it's what we did was actually a co-creation, bringing all of our I am presences, all of our soul essences together. Everyone that is listening live, everyone that will be listening to the archives later. It's all me. I use absolutely no instruments. I don't have any instruments at all. It's all me.
Oh yeah, in the chat room, somebody's just saying I didn't know you used an instrument for tones, and you're just validating that you don't. It's your physical body and your energy that you're using.
Most definitely, and like I said, I've put it out to the universe to manifest a new computer and a professional quality microphone, so that I can really do what I'm here to do in a more professional way. So, which I'm definitely putting out to do more high-quality audio and video work. And the music I was playing in the background was Kairos, my business partner and brother of light in England. He's also a friend of Dennis Barnes, who's also with us today. So thank you for coming, Dennis. And they're both from England, which is cool.
So beautiful. The music in the background was beautiful. Your words were beautiful. The harmonic resonance that you were creating with your body, with those tones, was so beautiful. And it seems like underlying all of it was your intention, and you're feeling that led in that what some would call channel, just inner higher guidance kind of way, inner guidance system kind of way, for what was beneficial for us. I could feel that we were all connected in that space. I could feel that, so it was fun that you pointed that out too.
And remember, I welcomed in all of our teams, all of our guides, and all of our galactic family that are of love and light intention. They were all there as well into our holy space.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Oh, how is everybody feeling in the group? I feel an extra level of yummy right now. I'm just so at peace, and I felt pretty good before.
No, so how does it feel to be on the receiving end instead of always giving of yourself? Now you're on the receiving end.
I love it, and I mean, from my perspective, I'm receiving and giving simultaneously all the time. When I'm walking my dog and he's looking at me with his beautiful face, I feel like I'm receiving. When I'm looking outside at nature, and we have spring here where I live in the northern hemisphere, and it's so beautiful, and I feel like I'm receiving all the time. And to receive through your gifts was very magical. Thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure.
Thank you so much for what you do.
Yeah, and through the Visionary Insights Network, once we have that online, which of course Kara and I will be doing a show on that once we're ready, and then I'm going to be having actually another show too, which is going to be interesting. In a week, on the 19th, I have a show, and also on the 25th. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'll be going over that in a little bit, but let's just focus a little bit more about you and what you do.
All righty. And by the way, thank you for sharing all the stuff that you do. I just have this vision in my mind that it's like a kind of like a spider in terms of all the beautiful ways that they create the web. So there's different avenues of sharing. That's kind of the image that I'm seeing of the beautiful ways that you extend and offer and use to create and expand and be your light, and all these different ways that you have so many different expressions that you use for your light in this lifetime, Marcus. I don't see how you keep up with yourself.
I am multidimensional, multi-universal. Like I was saying before, I am consciously aware of my Pleiadian aspect of my soul's expression, my Andromedan aspect of my soul's expression, And my two Syrian aspects of my soul's expression, both the humanoid Syrian as well as the dolphin-type Syrian form, which my soul and my I am presence are expressed.
Beautiful.
I'm also consciously aware of my universal aspect of my I am presence expression of this universe, as well as the harmonics I work with come from my omniversal aspect of my I am presence's expression in another universe, where I am working directly with Source from that level. Now, this way I explain it was you can share a little bit what you're getting from your team after I'm done, is the harmonic frequencies that I channel, which is one of the creation frequencies of creation itself, which is where our holographic matrix, our light matrix of this universe come from the harmonics. So the harmonics of that creation frequency of Source is also projecting other aspects of the harmonics other than light into other universes which are based off of that. But then there are also other creation frequencies which emanate from Source. They're not based on harmonics, they're not based on light, but on other creation-specific frequencies which are relative to those universes' creation. And beings from those that are highly evolved for their states of being might be able to extend their consciousness, since they are also part of the same source frequency, to us here in this universe. So when we are receiving teams like Cryon, for example, and others from Omniverse, they are from totally different forms of creation, but still from source consciousness, as we are.
Yes.
And they are here to assist us.
Yes.
So is there anything that your team would like to share about that?
Yeah. The vision that I have of that, and now I know why I was getting some of the visions that I was this morning, because they relate to this. There's two different kind of visions or images that may be helpful for some people, is that if you've seen a child's doll, a toy doll, and if the doll had hair, but the hair is not there anymore, there's little holes all over the head, okay? And that you can use to portray or as a metaphor for the way that if we're inside that doll's head and we're looking up, we see little pinpoints of light from each of those holes, right? Now, what we do from this earthly reality when we're looking up at those holes is we've identified those as stars. The Pleiades, Andromeda, Sirius A and B, Beta Centauri, Alpha Centauri, etc., and the list goes on and on for all the stars that we have identified and all the stars that we have not identified, right? Those are like little holes. Now let's take our perspective from outside the doll, looking down at the holes. The word Stargate is very, very powerful, and sometimes I feel like we miss the bigger meaning of it. The star that we know, or the star system that we know as that little pinhole from inside the doll, is actually a gateway to a whole nother realm of existence and realm of energies and experiencing of source that's above the doll's head. And every single one of those stars or star systems is that dimensional gateway. Now, let's sit with that just for a moment here in terms of our perspective relative to perhaps a higher perspective or a different, more expanded perspective of what it is from the bigger all that is. Now let's look at it as there's a bouquet of balloons, and they all have strings. So there's all these balloons that are above the doll's head, and there's these beautiful ribbons that are attaching each balloon to whomever is holding on to those balloons. So we are, you are, I am, really everyone else here is within this reality, within this doll's head. And we are holding on to this energetically. At our core, we have a grip. We don't need to intentionally hold on to it. It just is a part of us. We have this bouquet of this assortment of ribbons, and it can be many, it can be few, based on what we've decided to experience in this lifetime and share and be in this lifetime. We are energetically holding on to and gripping and manifesting this experience set that's holding all these ribbons And attached to all of them in the higher realms are these different energetic codes. It's 11:11, by the way, here where I am. That's so fun. All these different experiences. So what you just described, with all these different ways that you recognize yourself as an embodiment of the Syrian dolphin frequency, et cetera, and all the other beautiful ones that you mentioned, each one of those would be analogous to the balloons. And you are attached through these ribbons energetically to all of those different experiences. It's so beautiful, and it goes on and on and on. There's no end. It's the all that is that never ends. It never stops. And yet from this experience, from this earthly reality, from our consciousness, depending on what level of consciousness we're choosing to operate at, we're bringing in varying amounts of those divine essence energies that we pre-coded for each of us to experience.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves everything you're sharing. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from the listeners. Joe.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, everyone loves what you're sharing. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely want to do more shows with you. Maybe even a webinar or something like that. We can co-create that as well.
That could be really fun. We still have a lot of time, right? How are we doing on time?
Yeah, I think we do. We have about 50 minutes, I think, something like that. Let me double check the switchboard. Yeah, about 45 minutes.
Very fun.
So, all right. Well, like I said, the co-creation that Cairo and I are co-creating, like I said, it's not online yet. We are working on that. Visionary Insights Network. .com. What would you like to be? Are you being guided to perhaps join us in that co-creation? Visionary sites.
At this time, I feel like my plate is so full with my own stuff that give me some time, if you will, to let me contemplate and look at it and see if it feels like something that I would be doing separate from what I'm already doing. As you know, this balancing of all this stuff. It's so cool that, when I look at you and all these different website names and all this other stuff that you have, I think it's so cool that feels comfortable for you and your energy. That's my flavor of ice cream does not do that.
Well, it's basically source creation consciousness is what I work with, which everyone can.
And me too. Yeah.
It's just a matter of being consciously aware of that, which is the conscious ascension experience. Is you are integrating more of your multidimensional soul. You are integrating more of your I am presence, integrating more of source consciousness within your physical earth embodiment, merging all of your alternate timelines from your earth embodiments, past lifetimes, back into one conscious whole, so that you can bring forth from your other timelines, your other past lifetimes, which were positive expressions of source, where you learned your lessons or perhaps have something to do with what you're doing here, and really bring all of those abilities that you have in those other aspects of yourself, of your soul's expression, into who and what you are now, so that you are able to fully express your true wholeness and oneness through all your timelines, all your earth embodiments. And that also includes, I'll give you an example. Years ago, I was on Ning, and I saw this other person somewhere else in the world. And when I looked at his face, it wasn't me, it didn't look like me, but I knew that they were an aspect of my soul's expression in a different form. We were not allowed to communicate with each other directly. All we were supposed to do was to acknowledge each other. So I'm also merging with that aspect of me on the energetic level, as well as all my other dimensional aspects of my soul's expression back into the wholeness that I truly am. And each of you can do the same thing as you move forward in your conscious ascension experience.
I'm so happy for you, Marcus. I guess what I was just trying to say is that the way that I experience my consciousness and my source, etc., my connection with divine, my unique aspect of God that I'm representing here is through one website. So I can relate to everything that you just shared, and you've shared it so beautifully.
And you do so well, too, in your own way. And
thank you.
And we are in much appreciation for you bringing your divinity, your source conscious within your multidimensional soul, and gracing us with your presence here with us today in this eternal moment.
It's fun to be here. So what else should we talk about?
Well, let's see what else we can do for inspiration. So, we do have another caller. And I'll leave it as a surprise who it is.
Okay.
You are on air. Love line blessings. Welcome to Healing4innerpeace and Be Love Now with Joe.
Hello.
You're on air.
Hello.
Hi, this is Teresa.
I knew it would be you. How are you? So Teresa in the chat room goes by Breath of Terra, just so people can make the connection there. How are you, Teresa?
I know that you guys were talking earlier. I'm great. It's a very energetic morning. It's a lot of intimacy coming from the entire galaxy in my world today, so I'm like a little excited. I know we were talking earlier about going by our real Earth name, our assigned name, if you will. And I too got to study a little bit. I didn't really study it. I just had someone kind of walk up to me and say, you have the most beautiful, unique name. And I'm like, oh. and I did. I went to a website. I don't even remember what it is now, but there's so many of them that you can actually find the literal meaning of your name. And if you just take that into yourself and set with that energy, set with those words, and find that harmonics in your own heart space, it is a beautiful thing. Like I mentioned on this show that you and I did, Jill, that my thing is the condition of the human soul, right? And which is a very hard thing to do third and fourth dimensionally, but fifth dimensionally it's getting easier because I see it, I accept it, I resonate with it, or I walk away from it until they come to me. But my name means reaper of souls. That's what my name means. And I'm like, oh yeah, it helped me. It helps me when I ground, when I get psychically overloaded, or I get the voices, and the images, and they don't quite match up and things like that. I just sit down and I say, I am assigned to Earth. I am on ground crew. I am Teresa Sixberry. And so it helps you get more intimate with yourself in your own energies that you need. We need that energy. We need to understand what our name means. So that, I just thought that was an excellent thing. And, this was not a spiritual person. This is just a person at the park. They're sitting there drinking their bottle of wine in a little paper bag, and he just looked up at me and he said, "What is your name?" And I told him, and it was a pretty cool deal. It was really pretty cool.
Oh, Teresa, that's so, there's so many cool things that I'm feeling about that. I mean, the first one is that this truth that I have, that we actually pick our names. Just like as a soul, we chose our birth date, we chose our birth time, we chose our birth location. Everything that those that have trained or remembered their abilities in numerology or astrology and all those things where they use those dynamics know the importance of those. And I would say they are a natural kind of bodysuit kind of components that we knew we could work with. They're what could allow us as a soul to have the experience that we had kind of intended to set in motion for ourselves. And then, of course, free will comes in. So that's what I love about, our name and that there's no accidents. It's all by divine design. And then I love that it was a person drinking wine out of a paper bag in a park that kind of had led you to this epiphany that really these divine, it was almost like an activation because it led you felt naturally led to follow up on it, and it can come from anywhere.
Exactly, it can. It truly, truly can. I mean,
it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Somebody you didn't even know, somebody that some of us would have judgment about and walk right by. He had a gift for you.
Yes, he did, and we can't.
And you were present. You were in that moment, and you received that gift. And what a beautiful kind of. I want to say that there was a further unfolding and a further allowing of your divine essence to be raised further into your consciousness as a result of that. How gorgeous is that?
It really was fun. It was excellent. It helps me be grateful too. You know, I used to have a nickname. You guys are going to laugh. It was Morbid Faye. Okay, that is a terrible harmonic. That is a terrible name. You know, morbid what? Why do you want to talk about that? You know, and I loved that persona that I had created way back in my day online, because I was in a space where, I need the protection. What if I get a stalker? What if I get groupies? What am I going to do? And of course, whatever we worry about the most eventually turns into a silent little fear, a little mist there in the heart, and that's exactly what happens. So I'm proud of my name. I'm proud that I remembered when the little paper bag man shared that truth with me. I'm glad I was listening. And it's so much simpler to weed through the energies, especially when things are not going real good. When Mother Earth is shaking and rocking and rolling, there's earthquakes all over like in the last 24 hours. It is good to be able to sit down and have a talk with yourself. It truly is. It's a very powerful thing to be able to simplify yourself as an entity here on Earth, as a human being, as a spiritual human being, and take responsibility. Because if I go by a nickname, it kind of sets me back. Some people come up in real life and go, "Hey T, what's happening?" I'm like, "Oh, who's that?" Just for a second. And I'm like, "Oh, hey," and there's that delay and that hesitation and all kinds of stuff floods in, and the person looks at me and I look at them and I'm like, "You could call me Teresa. Is it okay if I call you, whatever their name is?" And I'll even go so far as now to say, "Could you tell me your real name?" No, I know your name is not Puppy Love. Okay. So,
right. In private sessions, I do the same thing, by the way. I ask them for their full birth name because there's a purpose for that whole name, and for some reason it helps me access more of their their energetic code and all that stuff helps. Yeah.
Especially when you're doing a healing, especially when you're doing a healing, I have a visual in my head, and I'm trying to become less computer dependent and more visually dependent, for lack of a better word. More visually inept.
Are you going to be very visual, Teresa?
Oh, yes. Yes, I always have been since I was little, like 3 years old, 2 years old. So, and I have a clear memory of this lifetime, of my lifetime, this in the here and now of being really little and being around adults, and they were like big, tall shadows, some of them, and some of them were really bright and really happy people, and I knew all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes with them, and so I was somewhat of a novelty from a really early age, all the way up till now. A lot of those adults from that time in my life, they're no longer walking the earth. And Marcus, you were talking about being able to connect with that soul. You see a picture of somebody, or you hear somebody's voice, and you start scanning the room at the conference you're at or wherever you're at, and you're like, beep, 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 beep. You're tuning in. Don't ignore that. That's very important for you to remember and make that connection. It is, and those little things like that are what blast you into your future, so to speak. It's what brings in the energy to make it through the day, make it through that seminar, make it through that healing session. And I'm talking not just about people that work in the public, but I'm talking about all of us, everybody, anywhere, anytime. That is what's happening. There's mass people waking up, and they're looking for you. They're looking for me. And I need to own up to that and not play small. So, yeah, it is a beautiful thing to be able to resonate at that beautiful heart note that you are because of the name you contracted to Earth in, your Earth name. And, I've had that in me for about 2 years, and it's good to talk about it finally. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing.
So did you see anything interesting from the harmonic frequencies?
Yes, actually I did. I just saw myself walking down the path as a wolf. I used to have a wolf farm. I had protected and endangered species, and I had some hybrids that, Border Patrol and Sheriff's Department, they'd confiscate them and they'd bring them out to my ranch, and I'd love them and care for them, things like that. So, yeah, I definitely heard Tokehei's voice.
Yeah, what's interesting is both myself and my 19-year-old son also have wolf guides. We always have.
Oh. We have a question in the chat room. It says, are there a lot of people waking up, and are they leaving the matrix? And my answer to that is most definitely, and there's a divine reason why. Just go with it if you don't understand it. Don't read anything into it. Just resonate yourself as a being in perfect love. Perfect love gets rid of all fear. So, you will do the right thing by that soul. That soul's contracted to you. You will find the love. You will find that beautiful place to operate from. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about studying. Just keep your heart in beautiful, excellent flow of energy coming out as much as you can possibly handle. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
So beautiful.
And one thing which is definitely happening is, and I think it's a lot of it is because of these online radio shows, which are very high consciousness vibration, is more and more of us as part of the divine plan are coming together in groups, and eventually new communities are going to be created which are for the new earth. And basically, my understanding is that when we move through the dimension transition next year, there's going to be a fourth dimensional earth, and then there will be pockets around the earth which is going to be fifth dimensional or higher, depending on where each of us is at consciously, integration-wise, with our higher self.
Mm-hmm.
And, so more and more of these communities are being created. And the whole point is because each of these communities are being created is going to be for the fifth dimensional consciousness groupings or higher, where they co-creating together for the greater good of the planet, but they are going to be separate from the fourth dimensional earth, but also part of it. So, I don't know all of the details of it, but that's what I'm seeing up to this point. Joe, is there anything that you can bring in to be more specific to any of this?
I would love to add to that. Is that okay?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, so I want to add to what you're saying there, because you were talking about those that are still within the more third and fourth dimensional reality construct will still be with us and yet separate from us. And I love how you put both of those in there. I've shared this before, and perhaps it'll be a new level of clarity this time, that what I'm shown with the divine blueprints is that those of us, that it happens individually. And I like that you shared, Marcus, your image of how there would be pockets around the planet of different dimensional realities being constructed by all of us, by each of us. We create the reality that we experience through our thoughts, through our feelings, through our beliefs and truths, through what energy we're really animating, what we are tapping into, okay? So you could look at it as pockets, and you could also look at it as just a summation of individuals, whether they are consciously connected or just superconsciously connected through whatever grid system or energetic dimension they're working with. So what I see is that that's actually already happening, that there are some of us that are choosing to operate from an energetic frequency that is much more in sync and in harmony with what we know of as our higher selves or as our oversoul in the higher realms. The frequencies that we know of from home, that we are connected to from those balloons and those ribbons that we talked about earlier into this reality, into the holes in that toy doll's head, that some of us are actively bringing those in to our personal realities, to our personal experiences. And as we do that, as we be our light, as we choose to define ourselves and operate from and experience our home frequencies to a purer and purer level, we affect the overall reality on the planet. Whether others are conscious of it or not is really their choice. And that's where, to me, we don't need a separate Earth, separate and apart from the Earth that we know of in this present moment, in this time phase, in this timeline. Because the breadth of experiences being offered right now, that's part of the divine blueprint as I see it. It's almost like those mini keyboards that you can purchase that only have maybe 20 keys. As we go along and as we, I want to say, abide by our internal guidance system in this pure and authentic way, leading to our expansion of consciousness, leading to our expansion of experiences simultaneously, that we are expanding the keyboard. We are expanding the range and depth and quality and spectrum of experiences, spectrum of notes on the scale to have and to hold and to be. And some may choose to still operate from that more limited set of keys on the mini keyboard. And some of us are just so excited to play with all the keys because we feel that freedom from home. We feel that liberation from home. And that's what I mean when I say we're bringing home, because that spectrum of realities is increasing. The person next to me on the bus or on the airplane, whatever, they can be whatever frequency they choose. And they're not affecting my ability. They're not hindering my ability in any way. Now, perhaps by sitting, whenever we experience someone that in some way offering us another level of our own personal experience just by what they're being, there are opportunities for us to be activated, triggered, etc., into our own expansion. And some of it is very divinely led and in our coding structure. And yet the conscious awareness of it is very much in accordance with the free will that each of us have. The more that we deny, the more that we resist the urge for our own expansion and our own experiencing our God essence, that's where I feel as humans we run into tension and frustration, because we're kind of clinging to a sense of self or a sense of reality, a truth system, a belief system that simply isn't big enough to hold the divinity that's just bursting and coded to really burst open at a certain point in our experience. And that's where we run into, that's where individuals, we're humans, I feel run into instances of tension, frustration, irritation, depression, anger, jealousy, all of those types of things, sadness, just disillusionment that they just don't care anymore. There's many reactions that we can have to any way that we're resisting or somehow not, maybe when we're getting in the way of our own experiencing.
Right. Now, one thing I'd like the two of you to meet is Cairo. But what's interesting, he's my business partner and brother of light in England. And as you know, I'm here in New Hampshire in the U.S. And what's interesting is the fact that both of our first names is actually Mark, which is pretty interesting. So you're on air, Carl. Mark.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one of the things that James said from the Ringmakers was about the ones that are awakened now, they're integrating the fifth dimension into the human domain. Mm-hmm. So everywhere we go, we're integrating that new reality and affecting those all around us, because we're sort of broadcasting that frequency.
Mhm.
And like my awakening really ramped up over the last 2 years.
Mhm.
But a lot of it was to do with the divine will, where my will was centered at, and like the law of attraction, what I was putting out was like a feedback to the universe, and it's then manifests in my life, in my experience, from the feedback that I'm giving back to the universe. That's how I sort of see. But I'm also aware that I exist in different timelines and futures, and that my higher self is my future self.
Mm.
And I had a realisation that the solar angel is my self, my real self, and not something separate. Like the angels, they're not something separate from me. They are part of me, and it was like the integration with the all in the everything. I know I'm part of it all, so to speak. And like the American Indians, they say we're all related, everything's related, because like we're, as you were saying, we're made of this matter that particles, stars, we are the universe and the part of the cosmos. Another thing I realised was that we're spinning in this like vortex around the sun, or near to the sun, in a spiral formation, and yet our DNA is in a spiral formation also. So we're travelling round at like, I know the Earth's turning at like 500,000 miles an hour, and we're going round in this cycle with the sun. So there's I've had a lot of almost like hyper communication from the sun, like information I'm like receiving from light information from the sun, if you will. You still hearing me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I think I have to mute myself because I'm using a headset, and my microphone is picking up from my earpiece. So I have to mute myself when I'm not talking.
Yeah, it's just a few of the concepts from my experience that I'm putting forward, but the awakening for me really happened when like I went to sleep one night, and I see myself like in space, and these like indigo stars all flew towards me. They were like flying around me, like checking me up and down. And then the next point I remember that they all like became part of me, this indigo star energy, and I felt that I became an indigo after that. After waking up from that the next day, I felt much more spiritually stronger than I was beforehand, and more aware. And then, like within the same month, I had an experience where I went to sleep again one night, and I travelled through like a tunnel, and I could see like streams of light going through the tunnel. And when I came to the end of the tunnel, I was in like another kingdom. I don't know if it was a realm or a dimension, but I was just surrounded by angels in there, and like some of them were giants. And to cut a story short, when I asked them who they was, they told me that they were the wing makers. And like this was before I'd read any of the wing makers information, so I didn't have a clue about it. Yet I had confirmation from the spirit world that the actual wing makers do exist. And told a lady about it, and she gave me a link to the Wingmaker's website, and I looked into it from there. And she said what I had experienced was the indigo star energy. So, and after those experiences, I became a lot more soul infused and integrated, and knowing the will of Source like I've never did before. So if any of you can relate to that, that's like basically how my awakening has been.
Yeah. Therese or Joe, do either of you have anything you'd like to share?
I picked up on something right away, and I haven't heard anybody use the term wing makers for at least 10 years. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing.
Well, I phoned into a show that the Goldwing did with Mark Hempel from the Wingmakers. I asked the question, have any other people had this experience where they've met the Wingmakers? And he said, yeah, we've had emails from all around the world from people that have had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
So that told me, there's something bigger going on in just me.
Oh yeah, there's something going on bigger than you or me. That's for sure. And It's good you heeded the call, because you did sign up for this. And I'm going to say something from my heart, even though we have never talked before or anything. I don't know what's going on in your present state, in your earth walk, but whatever is causing that fear, and you are aware of it, just let that fear go. It doesn't serve you. It's not protecting you right now. You don't need to operate in a third dimensional sense on you. You just need to float between fourth and fifth dimension at your leisure. You just go ahead and be yourself. Just go ahead and get rid of that. It is not serving you well at all.
Well, I do get a bit of reluctance to just relax and be that way sometimes, because of the way society is. But
well, yeah, because sometimes we don't know what to do. We don't know how to read our own galactic manual. We don't. We're so used to, in a 3D sense, picking up a book or getting on the internet or whatever, because that's what we learned how to do. We never learned how to exist between two worlds and operate in the fourth and operate in the fifth, and in a state of action, blind action. And that, definitely our faith plays a role in that. And that word, too, has such a negative connotation to it. But in aspect of what we're talking, and in the power of what we're talking about, in the here and now, it is okay to let go of what does not serve you, Cairo, definitely. Yeah. And you get to decide. You can access your own Akashic records. You can access your galactic records, your star records. You don't need another human soul to do that for you. And the best way to access them is to kind of fake it until you make it, so to speak, in an earthly sense. But just attend in your conscious mind and in your heart. I am going to clearly see, hear, feel, and know intuitively how to operate in these dimensions. And I'm going to be a shining star, and I'm going to be proud of myself, and I am going to be comfortable so that I can receive more instruction and light within myself to reach a greater a greater degree out in this 3D world that is called Earth.
I'm enjoying the expansion, but I think it serves us better to be selfless in our endeavour and to assist others in their awakening. So like those that are more awakened, they'll like be the way showers for those ones that are just starting to get to that point.
Yeah, because see, they're real close to that Earth energy. They're real close to the fear and the mental mix-up that goes on when you start to awaken, like, oh, my God, who am I? What is going on? I thought I had a handle on life, and this is crazy, and my dreams are crazy, and people are crazy, and I'm crazy, and, that cycle of, that exclamation point that jumps up in our face, it's so... You have the ability within you to resonate at a higher frequency than that just by being in the same room with them. You don't have to say anything to them. I always wait for someone to ask me. That way there is no fear, there is no uncertainty, there is no problem in dealing with those low vibrational energies that person is being showered with light. Their own light to get rid of that stuff. They will know what to do. They will know what to do. So
some of these symptoms with me, since I've gone into this higher operating system, is that I've become vegetarian. I can't drink tap water. Wherever I go, I have to make sure I'm drinking pure water.
Well, that's a good thing. I think everybody should do that. I don't know about the vegetarian. I know years back I tried that, and I got very, very sick. And the doctor said until you can, like totally cleanse your blood and things like that, you need to eat meat, because I get depressed if I don't eat a little bit of meat or a little bit of fish. I still do. So I'm working on that personally.
I have to have a little bit of that as well, but like mainly the meat's all been cut out of my diet.
Yeah. Now, Teresa, a lot of it is, which I'll be happy to work with you on, is the more that you integrate and nourish your body from the light, from creation frequencies, the more that you'll need to eat less and less, and eventually none.
Oh, I know. I can actually go a whole week and maintain my spiritual energy. I could go 7 days around people, and I can go 9 to 12 days when I'm by myself without anything but water, and be totally happy, totally content, no stomach growling, no nothing. I feel you. I would definitely like to, expand that out more. Right. The great one, Jesus Christ, he went 30 days in the desert, or 40 days without any food or water.
Yeah, I have friends that are breatharians, so so something I'm thinking about. Now, we do have a listener that wants to go on air. It's 714-422. You're on the air. Welcome to Healing4innerpeace and Be Loved Now.
Oh, thanks for having me. I actually just would like to start with thanking Teresa for talking about that, owning your name and resonating with the heart note that is your name. That was pretty amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the other thing I wanted to just touch on was what you were talking about, Mark, earlier, which is all these radio shows coming up. They've definitely, I actually just started listening to a lot of these web blogs and radio shows, and for the past month, I can see like a huge shift in just my energetics, and each time I call and interact with one of you amazing people, like my energetics just skyrocket, and it's pretty amazing.
But it's one thing to definitely be aware of too, is that there's a lot of hosts. I'm not going to name names, of course, that that think that they are doing good service, but they're doing it more from ego, where they might have all of the words, talk, but they have not integrated their higher self. They have not integrated their multidimensional soul. They have not integrated their I am presence. They have not integrated the higher source frequencies because of their ego or whatever issues they have.
Okay.
So they're not operating from that higher quantum vibration of their own consciousness. Yes, they can if they do the inner work, but for whatever reason they have blocked that and they're not. So they are not being as high of a divine service as those like Teresa and Joe and myself and Cairo, because we have done the inner work. We have done that integration of our multidimensional soul, of our I am presence, of our source consciousness, of our true wholeness.
And we have to, excuse me, hon, we have to accept and consciously ask for the activation of all of that. And the responsibility for the integration when you're exposed to another soul. You know, faithful over little, ruler over much.
You guys, I was just going to share that. Let's think of there might be another way to look at this that might be helpful for people. Think of the example of the man that was holding the wine bottle in the brown bag for Teresa.
Oh.
Was he spiritually activated? Was he listening to blog talk radio shows?
Oh, no.
I don't think so. But was he also an incredible, I'm sorry, just a second, please. But was he also an incredible assistant in Teresa's journey? I guess the reason I point that out, and I've shared it from my team in a message last year, it was called Many Teachers, or Many Messengers, Many Messages, and it's on my website, beaconforlightworkers.com. And it just talks about the fact that there's another way for us to look at all the various messages. You could say all the beautiful messages that are being shared on the planet, and whether somebody is at a certain level of their, as Marcus would use the term, inner work or level of light quotient, or et cetera, that really all of us are light, and all of us are experiencing light in our own unique way and sharing our light in our own unique way. And even a teacher that somebody would describe as very egoic may be helping millions of people or 10 people in a very profound way in their journey. So I choose, if my approach my team has shown me a way to look at all the different ways that are being, all the different forms and unique versions, I want to say flavors of light that are being shared, that it's really up to each individual where they are feeling nurtured and supported and expanded and furthered in their remembering process, and where they aren't. Just, there may be one teacher that doesn't resonate at all with one of us because we may feel them as egoic or whatever, and yet to another person that we may have a lot of honor and respect and love for, they may just be all charged up and feeling so activated by them. And there may be somebody that we feel are just so high light quotient and so connected, then another person that we're very close to doesn't get it all and just doesn't resonate with, and they think they're just not helpful at all. And I love that we all have what we need. We all have what we need, and truly it is within us, and there are these other members of the human family that assist us in big ways and in small ways, like that man in the park for Teresa. Everything can be used for our divine integration. Everything.
Yes, it can. It truly, truly can. Because, there's an old biblical saying. It says, you shall know the truth and it shall set you free. And if what you are seeking is the truth, you're going to find it. It's going to chase you down. It's our job to get out of the mental mix-up of the 3D world that we live in, and remember that we are looking for truth. We are looking for confirmation. We are looking to connect to our higher self, to this beautiful planet we live on, and to this galaxy, the world within the world. Or, it's important.
It's beautiful. And the other thing I would share, just kind of playing with words a little bit, because I find that really fun. When Cairo was sharing earlier about the opportunity, and from your perspective, Cairo, you shared, I understand it, that the importance of being selfless. And another way to look at that is, if you look at small s self, which is more the egoic interpretation of identity and sense of self tied to the very 3D nature of our world, and the capital S self, which is extremely rooted in our God essence, that to me, selflessness, capital S selflessness, is exactly the cause of a lot of the polarity and suffering and war and separation that we actually have in the third dimension. And that the big opportunity, as I see it right now, is self-fullness, capital S, that we are so flooded and so owning the mastery and the God essence, the divine within each and every one of us, that it is from that standpoint that we change ourselves and change the world.
Yeah, I mean, the show's just about done streaming, so, and Teresa, I definitely want to talk to you off air soon. I added you on my Skype, so we'll talk off air.
All righty.
And is there anything you'd like to bring in closure, Joe?
I guess I would just say thank you. I think this was a beautiful example of different, of each of us having our own activated God essence, and we're all recognizing there's further expansion for all of us, and we may have different, I kind of love the fact that we have maybe different takes and different experiences and different perceptions of things, and yet it's all good. If it's working for us, it by definition is good.
Excellent.
I'm going to go have a hamburger for lunch. I'm teasing. I've never been into the dogma about a certain food makes you spiritual.
Okay. Well, this has definitely been a great show, and like I said, I'm going to have Diane Wing on the 19th. And then another friend, Joseph from Anastasia websites, which I'll be going over that probably more, because I have to have a meeting with him in more depth about the new communities for the New Earth, and it's definitely all for the greater good of the whole.
And thanks for having me, everybody, and thanks for loving yourself and taking care of yourself, and taking responsibility for this journey of your journey. And Jill, love you. I love everybody still. And I'll talk to you guys later. And Marcus, feel free to contact me on the Skype, hon.
Okay, and you'll love this song, both of you. So, Heaven's Light by Miss Magical. And Teresa and you and Jill, I love this song.
Thank you so much for all you do. Cairo, it's great to hear your voice. I love your energy.
All right, and bye.
It's the medicine of the world. Shine your golden light of love. It's the medicine of the world. Shine your golden light of love. Sunlight dawns upon you. Rainbow light showers down on you. Healing light radiates around you. Heaven's light shines from within you. It's the medicine of the world. Speak your golden words of truth. It's the medicine of the world. Speak your golden words of truth. Moonlight shines upon you. Grandmother's light at night adorns from within you. It's the medicine of the world. Have your golden thoughts of beauty. It's the medicine of the world. Think your golden thoughts of beauty. Sunlight dawns upon you. Rainbow's light showers down on you. Healing light radiates around you. Heaven's light shines from within you. It's the medicine of the world. Have your golden dreams of joy. It's the medicine of the world. Have your golden dreams of joy. Moonlight shines upon you. Grandmother's light at night adores you. Moonshine and starlight igniting you. Heaven's light shines from within you. Heaven's light shines from within you.